you will make if you are trying to be accurate. Cutting fat, cutting calories, everything. This is an absolute. You're going to run into issues if you don't have a scale. Go buy a scale. I'll put a link on my website. How about that? I'll put a link on my website to the things that I'm showing you today. You must have a scale, okay? I hear this said all the time. People are going to give you little tidbits and tell you this is okay and that is okay and you can add that to your diet. Don't listen to other people. If you're following my meal plan, you need to listen to what I'm doing. I had a bad habit early on I tried a lot of different diets. I've done paleo, I've done keto, I've done bodybuilding diets, I've done this type of macro counting, I've done a lot of different things, and I've always had a bad habit of somebody will say to me, oh, well, you can throw this into your calories and it's fine. So let me give you an example. Fruits and vegetables are not freebie calories. So sometimes you'll hear people who are dieting and they will say, oh, I'm on a 1,200 calorie diet. But they'll say they have 1,200 calories and then they'll take the fruits and vegetables and put them separate. You cannot do that. This is a 1,200 to 1,400 window for me. All my fruits and vegetables, including my condiments, if I'm using ketchup, mustard, barbecue sauce, it is all counted. If I am using olive oil to cook my food in, I have to count what olive oil I'm using. So everything must be counted. There are not calories that are free calories. You can eat as much spinach as you want. No, everything is counted, okay? Don't fall into that trap, okay? Because then you'll waste so much time. And that's what I would realize. I'd do 2-3 weeks doing it their way, and the scale wouldn't budge. And I'm like, oh, I just wasted 2 or 3 weeks. I should have just stuck with what I was doing. It was working. And then somebody told me, it was okay to do this. Another thing that people may mention to you when you're dieting, because what happens is when you're on a diet, everybody knows you're on a diet, okay? And you'll talk about it and everybody will see you're eating differently in front of them. And they'll tell you what they do, and then you'll go home and say, oh, I must be doing it wrong. And you'll throw in these little details and it will actually hinder you. Okay. You cannot deduct your burned calories from your workout. So if I worked out today and I type it in my little calorie counter, because you need to get a workout counter, I type it in and I say, oh, it looks like I burned 500 calories on the stair stepper today. I cannot take those 500 calories and say, oh, now I've got an extra 500 calories and I can eat an extra 500 calories. No, that's not what you're doing. You can't do that with your workout. Because you're not on a scientific machine measuring. You need to separate your workout and your meals. Your meals is completely separate. It's 1,200 to 1,400 calories. For me, if I work out that day, I don't add an additional 400 calories. I also don't take my fruits and vegetables and say, I can eat as many of these as I want. I'm calculating everything. I am emphasizing that. Can you hear the emphasis? Okay. How I calculate my meals. A lot of people do different macronutrient ratios. I balance mine at 40% protein, 40% carbs, 20% fat. What does that mean? I'm just going to give you a generic example. If a piece of bread has 20 carbs in it, okay, and I'm trying to eat 120 grams of, this is going to get confusing for people. I can already tell the numbers. My proteins and my carbs are equal. I'm keeping 40% protein, 40% carbs. Those are equal. And my fat is at 20%. I'm only eating 20% of my calories in fat. So I try to eat 120 grams of protein a day, 120 grams of carbs, and 40 grams of fat or less. I stick at the 40 grams of fat or less for someone my size, okay? So that would be like eating, if a slice of bread has 20 grams of carbs, I could eat 6 slices of bread. If 4 ounces of chicken has about 20 grams of protein, I could eat 6 pieces of chicken, 6 pieces of 4-ounce chicken. So that's equal bread, equal chicken, And then the fat, I'm gonna try and keep my fats. Maybe I could drizzle a little bit of salad dressing, but I've calculated my fats. That'll be about 40 grams of fat or less, okay? Okay, so that I don't confuse everybody, okay? You need to choose to eat what you want to weigh, okay? So if I want to weigh 120 pounds, I'm going to eat 120 grams of carbs, 120 grams of proteins. That's what I want to weigh. I want to weigh 120 pounds. That's that's a roundabout calculation, but that's about what I want to weigh. If you want to weigh 130 pounds, you might want to eat 130 grams of protein, 130 grams of carbs. Okay, this is where people are going to hear me talk about this and they're going to say, no, I don't recommend this. Don't do that. You need to do 1.5 times your protein. They're going to tell you all different kinds of things, okay? This is where it turns into opinions, okay? I eat 120 grams of carbs, 120 grams of protein, 40 grams of fat or less. That's what I eat every day when I'm calculating my meals. That's what my meals look like. If you want to weigh 130 pounds, eat 130 grams of protein, 130 grams of carbs. Just whatever you do, don't go over your 12 to 1300, whatever, your 12 to 1400 calorie ratio or whatever it is. If you're eating 1500 calories, if you're a taller woman, if you're eating 1500 calories, just stick with your program. I'm telling you as a 5'4" petite who would like to weigh around 120 pounds, okay? Who would like to weigh around 120 pounds, I stick with 120 grams of protein, 120 grams of carbs, 40 grams of fat or less. I don't care who you are, you don't want your fat to get over. I mean, if you're hitting the 50 mark on your fat, you really need to start watching it. You need to keep your fats low no matter who you are. But that is what my carb ratio looks like. Men can handle a little more fat. So when I'm making a meal for me, I'm making the same meal for my husband. I'm just slapping more meat on the plate and more vegetables on the plate. So he's eating a bigger portion. I don't even weigh his stuff. I don't even calculate his stuff. And he really, I'm gonna see if he lets me. If he sticks with a diet, maybe he'll let me post some pictures of him. But he always leans up just like I do. I don't even measure his stuff. He just eats what I'm eating and he'll eat double portions. So the only extra fat he's getting is from the meats that are already on the plate. If I'm eating a potato, I don't use a lot of stuff or whatever. I'll use a light sour cream. I'm not putting like double the sour cream. He's getting the same scoop of sour cream I'm getting. He might just get a slightly bigger portion. So just watch your fats, but that's what I'm doing. That's how I gauge it. If you want to weigh 130 pounds, maybe you want to eat 130 grams of protein, 130 grams of carbs, but you still need to keep your calculations within your calorie deficit. Okay. So I already said that eat the amount of carbs, eat the amount of carbs and protein that you want to weigh. That's my guide. Okay, that's my guide. That's what I use for me personally. Use an app that calculates your ratios, okay? A lot of people use MyFitnessPal. I don't use MyFitnessPal. I use a program called MyNetDiary. Let me show you what that looks like. See that little apple icon right there? That's MyNetDiary. And I can punch in my weight. Oops. It just clicked off the page. I can punch in my weight. I can program my macros on it. This is how I create my meals, okay? You should get if you're not gonna follow my meal plan exactly, you should get a calculator, okay? And most of you are gonna look at these meal plans. These are gonna be great guides for you. I hope you start calculating your own food. And use my meals as ideas, because you'll get sick of eating the same thing every day, and you shouldn't eat the same thing every day. I've been doing this for a long time, so if I'm craving Italian food, I'll make something Italian. If I'm craving Mexican food or Japanese food or whatever, I'm like, oh, I'm really craving this. How can I make this fit into my macros and make a healthy version? That's the benefit of being a cook. is